Cool. Cool. So, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the video. This will probably be on YouTube if for most of you watch this, but today I'm taking a look at the beginner's guide, and the reason I'm looking at it is it's twofold. The reasons I'm looking at it are twofold. First of all, there's a cool channel on YouTube. Cool. He's on Twitch as well. I can't remember his name. Like the pirate something, but he makes games. He recommended this game to a dev on his stream and said that it's enlightening when you're dealing with that creative block, or not necessarily creative block, but you just don't feel very motivated to, I guess, pursue your passions or build that thing you want to build, or create that piece of art, or make that piece of music, or write that book that you've always wanted to, or, that stuff. Because I'm sure many people deal with that. I mean, I know I have, I know people in my family have, and yeah, it's tough sometimes, especially when you got to balance life and work and relationships and whatever else, health. So I myself have been looking at game dev recently, because I'm a programmer. It's my profession, but I'm not the best at it, and I've definitely stagnated over the past few years to some degree. And I wanted to improve my skills by getting into game dev, and I have many times ventured into it. I've done XNA. I've done that was 20 years ago almost. That was Microsoft's game development toolkit or framework. I've tried Unreal Engine recently, as well as Unity. I've built some little basic things in them, but I always give up. I either feel overly intimidated, or it feels like too much of a time investment. You just lose sight of that vision that you had that got you into it in the first place. So yeah, I've just been in a bit of a rut lately, and while I have been studying and learning, and I've still been very proactive, I'm still struggling to get over that initial, should I try a new project again? What if I fail? That sense of discouraged, that feeling very discouraged and very, I wouldn't say unmotivated, but not having a lot of self-belief in terms of what you can do, what you can achieve. So yeah, this is me giving the beginner's guide a shot, because that is where I am, and that's where I am right now, and I think it might help me with that. So yeah, let's get started.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Wreden. I wrote the Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games.
Oh, you got this in the game.
Not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here.
That's one of the beauties of indie gaming, is that you can actually do that.
Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet. He
Me
just
too.
makes them and then
Story of our
immediately
lives, eh?
abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting.
Oh, really? This is all just his stuff?
I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at davey.
To block this person. Just type by mistake. Go back to the game. Getting tired of people spam in Twitch chat.
at gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's
Let's have a look at
first
Mr.
proper
Coda's
game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Yeah, I was building stuff back then, but for me it was just 2D platformers. Like it was like I was building, you know, like a Mario style stuff. Not that I'm a big Nintendo fan, but just, you know, the platforming fundamentals. This is way more complex than that. Like doing 2D games is so much easier. I was just learning the basics of parallax, you know, backgrounds and just doing simple, you know, vector calculations with transforms and things.
This game is called Escape from Whisper.
So my problem here is that I'm such an FPS guy that I as soon as there's like there's glaring issues, I'm gonna notice them. And here the floaty gun, I know that's not the point of the game, but it's still I can't open it. But I'm not gonna pick on it. I'm not gonna.
And it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's awesome that he was building stuff like this in his own time. And not even showing anyone as well. Well, I guess he was showing his friend, too. Can you shoot this? And it also makes you wonder, like, for this game, the beginner's guide, because all of these levels, they can't have been that polished. A lot of them must have been very half-baked, so they probably had to still go back into these projects and fix them up so they were okay for this game. If it is indeed true that they're from this Coda guy. Let me guess, there's no enemies?
It kind of looks like this game was abandoned mid-development.
Yeah.
For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere.
That's the Half-Life 2 sound.
There are no enemies anywhere.
You saw the Half-Life 2 sound.
You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets.
Yeah, I see.
But ultimately, we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I like the lighting, though obviously it's very rudimentary. Just using point lights and very basic, what's it called? Dispersion techniques. But they're like, it's cool. It's
I
cool that he
love how
built
you
this
can
in
see the
his free
bottom of the universe from this room.
Let me guess, you can't go through this one. Yeah. You can see based on the line on the door. If they have a line going down the middle, you know it can open. If it doesn't. It's interesting how he basically, with the click...
Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so
Does
in
the
the
door open
interest of
again?
time,
No.
I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. The click is interesting because it's like... What's the word?
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
And you...
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
This is very heavily Half-Life inspired, first of all. Second of all, having a situation like this where I have to kill myself in a game is not difficult to save other people. It's like, it's a game, but...
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended
Reminds me
when
of
he was
Half-Life.
developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
I wonder what he built this stuff in. He probably built it in... I mean, what would you have used in 2008 back then? He would have either just done it in plain C++, I guess, using existing libraries to supplement your dev process, but like, what else could you have used to build something like this back in those days? Yeah, probably just like a C++, C, very fundamental design, because you didn't have... At least Unreal Engine wasn't as developed as it was in the 2010s and moving forward. What else was popular back then? I guess you could have taken like the Quake engine, like the that was actually Source that got created from the Quake engine. So you could have taken a lot of different engines. Honestly, it looks like he used the Source engine for this, to be honest. It really looks like the Source engine. Looks like he took the Half-Life Source engine and just built stuff with it. Ooh. Some
The
labyrinth.
beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Yeah. I really do like... The problem with game dev is that, and I know I'm going to be rambling a lot during this game, but it's because it's very personally relevant to me right now. And it's been relevant throughout my life, because one of the reasons I got into coding was to do game dev. But what motivated me to get into game dev was very high fidelity stuff. So it was very hard for me to sort of reconcile the fact that I had to build these really basic prototypes like this in order to develop a skill set over many years before I could actually start building something cool and what I initially envisioned. So it's very discouraging. It's very disheartening when what motivates you is so far out of your reach, you know? And when you build stuff like this, while I agree with this game, this is a lot of personality, and I'm very interested in this, and I want to see what this guy's built. A lot of projects that you work on as a beginner or someone who's working towards being better at doing this are not as interesting as this, though they could be, but to you yourself, they probably don't feel very, yeah. And I guess that's the whole point of this game. It's like you don't realize how other people can get meaning out of what you build. So, anyway, I'm rambling. So, but yeah, it's tough. I initially started, when I started looking at game dev, I initially wanted to do stuff in Quake Engine, or Unreal Engine, but the Quake Engine wouldn't work on my PC.
So try walking backwards.
Yeah, I get it.
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
And you don't have to use the strafe keys.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete.
Yeah.
Code is trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Why does the future keep changing? Do I still have to walk backwards? Yes. When she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. That's very zen. Very... This is over now. More you on the backwards. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick.
It is a poignant...
Okay, next one.
A poignant point? Poignant point? Not, yeah, it's true. I mean, we spend our lives trying to improve based on what we've done in the past, but sometimes it feels like a losing battle. Like there's no way to win that battle. It feels like you're better served just being in the present and doing your best right now, as opposed to trying to fill all the holes that you made, as you went through life. So it's another abstract experience here. You are now entering... Can I go forward this way? I cannot. So it's on rails, basically. Okay. You only have like a meter of lateral leeway.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
That's what a developer, that's what it feels like to be a developer, My whole life has been like that. Even if some of the things I worked on were meaningful, and even helped the community, because some of them...
I know it's tempting, but there's actually nothing over here. Sorry.
The sounds, I wonder if these sounds were actually added by the original coder, or if this guy added them in post just to make them a little more immersive or more conducive to getting, his artistic vision across. But yeah, as a developer, you're taught not to take pride in the stuff you build, because it could be deleted the next day, and literally the next day. I've had that many times. You leave a job, company goes, interesting. It's getting slower as you go up.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
the way he did this was, it felt like it wasn't incremental. It didn't feel like it was based on the distance to the door. It felt like it was based on time. Because even when I stopped moving, it kept slowing down. Like if I started moving again, it was slower than it was before I'd stopped. So it felt like it was based on time rather than that. But I might be wrong there. It just didn't seem like it was based on distance from the door. The game is nothing but giant blocks of your gate. You start up, you can't ring every day, but you are the queen. What? Good normal game, but key in the game. You walk around people. What?
A room that's warm and nice.
Oh, wow.
And filled with little ideas for games.
What? So why make the door unopenable?
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
This sort of makes me sad that I've deleted so many of my past projects, though. Wait, what? That was abrupt. I would have liked to explore that room a little bit more. Yeah, if you leave a job, that company goes down the drain, that whole website you worked on for 5 years, goodbye. That project you took pride in, that project you worked your ass off on, did your best with, tried to improve, to help with the user experience, all that stuff, and it just gets deleted. All that code, all that whole thing is gone, you know? But we're taught to be like that as devs. You're taught.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see
to
if
not
you
be
can
invested
solve
in
it.
what you code as much. Sorry, I know I'm being weird. I'm not going just down the straight path here, but I'm a developer, A and B. I tend to like to see how the games work, just in general. Just mechanics. Okay, wait. Am I supposed to press E here? No, E doesn't work. Am I missing something? Do I turn around again? I can't see. It's very dark. And it's probably even darker on stream too. Speaking of, let me just increase. I had a filter here, a brighten filter. It's on already actually, so I'm not going to increase it anymore. Okay, I'm missing what I'm supposed to be doing here. Jump? Because these are the mechanics. Jump and use. And move around. Probably something I'm missing here, but I just want to see what's over here first. I didn't hear what he said as I was talking just now, so I'm worried. Oh, is there probably a lever here that I'm not seeing? No? There is one on this side. Okay. I thought I was going to get locked in here.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this
Oh,
puzzle
that was what
in
you were supposed to do. Never mind.
We're going to see it a lot. So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. All right, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
That's fun. Wow. Okay.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
I think what he's getting to is that it's art, just like any other piece of art. You don't know what goes into it. You just see it's an interpretation of what's presented to you.
Aha. So this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
I look even whiter on camera than usual because of this white-ass background.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
And this is probably using the Source engine. It must be. This
To
looks
make
too much
all of
like
these
Half-Life.
games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does
It's
poorly.
old as hell as well. Yeah.
One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making.
I'm going to say this, when you are able to build so many things like this, using the same tool, you must get really good with that tool. This guy must have been a Source guru, like, after building all these things. Because, like, that's what happens. When you code in something over and over again, you become really good with that thing. Because every project you build, everything you work on is different. There's different problems to solve. There's different solutions to those problems. And, yeah, so you learn the ins and outs of that environment that you're working in. Yeah, a huge amount.
You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
I'm disabled. I'm dumb. There you I'm not disabled. That was a bad joke, but I do have ADHD, so I do feel stupid sometimes. I thought that was because the whole level's white. I thought this was the bottom of the level. So is it going to let me go over here? It is. I can't open that though. Honestly, I'm actually closer to being disabled just in terms of being very not active. My back kills me. We're going over here. This looks cool. Okay. I missed! Wow. So I think it would have actually ended up making me skip through some of this anyway. If I think it was expecting me to fall at some point. There's probably some part of this where you were supposed to fall, I would assume. I don't like that there's like so many... No, it's like literally not invisible, but yeah. You can see it slightly. Nani? What was that? You can see that he's progressively getting better with this engine as well. Like his levels are becoming more intricate. There's more attention to detail, the polish. Oh, hello. I'll go off. Won't let me. No, okay. No, it went. No, it went.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Yeah.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
I wonder if this is the same dude that helped him with the Stanley Parable. Who built the Stanley Parable or something. This is the writer that's talking. And this reminds me of the Stanley Parable. Like in terms of, it's not a conventional game. It's not a conventional experience. It's not trying to be. Okay, yeah, this. I think this should have been more opaque, just so you can more easily see it. Wait, what? Oh, no, you can still get. Never mind, moving them. You can't run, but you can duck. I forgot about that. I wonder if these sound effects were added by him himself, or if these were added later on for this game. Probably for this game, not for the original demos. Because the music has been quite consistent between these different levels.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
I wonder if this would cause a bug or something if I kept doing this. Because it's not really matching the state of the door. So let's go inside and see what happens, because it's down now instead of up. So let's press it again. Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Must say, it would have been... Yeah, I don't know. Never mind.
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Why can't I remember how to solve it? You are not the one I need. This guy was very, like, I don't know what the right word is. Very existential and very abstract, or even esoteric, I guess. I mean, I'm not even this. Like, I'm very, like, I think about existentialism. I have done so since I was a kid, because, you know. What am I doing in here? Yeah, okay. Oh, it looked exactly the same. I'm so confused. I don't know what happened there. I was too busy for it. Black space in the middle. What is that referring to? Is it from before? Like previously? Who are you? Oi. You can't jump on here with your crouch jump from source 1. Oh, that sucks. Oh, yeah, this is different now, okay.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level. It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Yeah. But I can understand how this would be an awesome outlet for a lot of, I guess, internal deliberation. A lot of internal existential debate. He likes his glowy lights. I'm noticing that he's got his he's got a glowy. I would too. To be fair, I like glowy lights, especially modern glowy lights, like ray traced glowy lights, like cyberpunk glowy lights. Though this is Source 1 glowy lights, so they're only okay. Nice room not. Okay, I can't interact with that, eh? Rub.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
I have to say, like, as a developer and as someone who's worked on a lot of side projects as well, not close to as many, especially in game dev, as him, but because mine have been mostly web related. Though I did do a lot of little game projects, but I never got very far with them. I actually marvel at his ability to create all of these levels without even having a real vision behind it. Like, I need to conceptualize something very clearly before I can get started on it, because the desire to achieve some form of end product, end result, is what gets me through that process, or usually does. And for most people, I'm sure it's the same. But obviously, that's a very different side of the coin to when you're just creatively, when you want to express yourself and you have only the tools that you have, and so you make the most of them. And in this case, this guy made the most of this tool, and it's quite inspiring. Because whenever I started a project, I was like, I'm gonna have this, and this game's gonna do this, and it's gonna be this type of game, and it would be this giant document with all these ideas, and then I'd spend like a month at most on it, have some basic mechanical basic example of the mechanics, and that was about it. I never ever got to fully fleshing out a level editor, or I built basic ones, but they never fully worked outside of like basic TD type stuff where you plop down a tower.
Feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them.
Everyone.
Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts, and
that's actually very true. I think that's what I was trying to insinuate as well with what I was saying, and that this is the tool that he has, and this is how he's expressing himself, and he obviously has a lot on his mind, and it does give a sense of loneliness,
feelings and beliefs,
like things that he wants to tell others, but
and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
The guy over there wrote much wrong. Okay.
But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me.
I also wonder if he actually placed these... Obviously, he placed the locations of the bubbles on his own. He defined those each individually. I'm pretty sure it's not randomized in that regard, but I'm pretty sure if I was a developer building this, I would probably have randomized the text unless he had a reason for putting the text on specific bubbles. But I probably would have just created an array of strings and just randomly picked them and stuck them in these bubbles. But I'm assuming it's not the case. I'm assuming it's all hard coded. But who knows? Maybe he did use some form of random generation.
Play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Cool cavern. Jeez. It's scary to think that this guy's probably the same age that I am. Life is passing by. Do not be afraid. Okay, I'm not gonna read everyone. I'm gonna jump down there. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I'm guessing it's more either on a timer or there are certain triggers set in place that move to the next point. So let's just go down here. Or should we do something weird and jump off? I wonder if we should do that. Let's do that. I can't. Won't let me. Never mind. So how would you have gotten down to the other ones then? I have no idea. Was that beeping sound? Oh, was it the message next to me? Okay, never mind. It sounds like a message. Who knows? He's probably even older than I am. Though you never know. Probably not actually. Probably the same age. Don't listen to that guy. A free t-shirt. Makes game, includes door, cannot open door. Thanks. So there's something important here I want to just bring up as well, and that is the maybe that's again also a point in this release, in this game itself, but there is a line between, at least in game dev, there's often a line between the enjoyment of creating something technically not impressive, but just building something yourself using, engineering chops. But then there's also the side that where you want to express yourself or get across a point or convey a story or something of that sort. And that's what I find quite... It's quite obvious, it's quite evident, like that gap, because like with this guy, he's obviously using the source engine. I honestly don't think there's a huge amount of coding involved. I might be wrong though with what he's been doing, at least so far. I don't know though. But you build the levels through a level editor, you're using a level editor for most of this. And that means that it gets out your way. Like if you're developing a game using code, to create like conceptual demos like this without some form of consistency like that is very difficult. So I guess he felt this was a good avenue for him to express his creativity. Seems like it was. But a lot of developers can't do this because they're always so obsessed with the technology, the tools, and I'm the same. Like, I'm learning a new language so I can start doing game dev from scratch again using that. We're using Bevy, and like we're so focused on the tools that we forget about what we're trying to convey with the actual game, and we forget that it is actually an art form. Like what you can actually do with this medium. If you look at games like what's the company behind them? Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls and Detroit Become Human, that company, like I think it's Quantic Dream. Like they makes like I got that feeling from their games, and I've also gotten that feeling from many games, from like Journey on PS3 back in the day. Like there's a lot of games I really do feel games like that. I don't want to read all these. Well, this is where I get off. I can't run, so I'm just gonna go. But yeah, it is a thing. It is an issue, I guess, in game dev where we're so focused on the technical side of things. I'm rambling, but I think that's also an issue with game dev companies at the moment, in that their technical staff are so focused on the tools that management feel like they're slowed down or they can't really iterate fast enough. And that's because, again, games are trying to be too ambitious, I think, in some cases, and that's why they cost billions of dollars. And that's also why you see indie games that are achieving huge amounts of stuff for way less and with way smaller teams. It's because these bigger companies are unrealistic, and their tech teams are too ambitious, just in general. They're too focused on the tech, on the tooling, instead of just finding something that is is easier to iterate with and not too ambitious, so that, say, like for example, you don't have these gigantic levels. Like this is, I don't mean like this. I mean this isn't huge comparatively, to like say Red Dead Redemption 2 or something. But in that case, like you could stream you could make the game geometry, the level geometry, far less complex, so that when you stream it in, it's not as demanding, and that's easier to iterate. There's less bugs, weird issues.
And here,
like
I'll tell you
stuff
what
like
I
that.
think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one. In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on. And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
I get what he's trying to say here, and it does make me wonder, like, what was this guy thinking about at these times in his life? And it is quite interesting to get a glimpse into that. If a very basic one, because you have no idea what fueled this. There's no solution. Where's... I'm heading back to the stairs. See you guys later. I'm pretty sure he had to do more coding as he got better at using the engine, though. Like, there probably was a lot of coding involved in terms of doing... I don't know. Maybe I'm talking shit, but... doing more complex stuff. I don't know. I'm sure he had to do a lot more scripting. So this is just a bunch of typewriters. I thought all the typewriters would be moving with the sounds, but they're not. It's just plain sounds in the background. Speak.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
That last level, I didn't really get it though. I didn't really get what he was going with there, with the typewriters and stuff at the end. But the 24-bit. 16-bit image. Oh, wait. That was awkward. It's because of this little door part here.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
Yeah, it's almost like he's implying that that's what modern life is, you know. You don't realize you're in a prison, but you are. Maybe that's what he's saying. How about a TV with... Oh, what? That's number one for sure. Who needs food? Hey, where's my TV with surround sound? Wait, you didn't give me a TV with surround sound. Did I press the wrong button? What? Let's be pragmatic. Never mind. So is this trying to tell me something through my choices? I don't know. We'll put live Tesla coils in each corner. Yeah. A skylight, full seating window. Let's open this baby up. Yeah.
There's a bit more to this one, but still it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
I also wonder if he spoke to this coder dev dude.
So, okay, he throws it out and starts
whilst building
over.
this to get
This time
a
he
bit more
comes at the
insight.
prison idea from a different direction.
I didn't even see what was in that room before it just like cut out. This guide will enable you to escape any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully. Take care of what you let you remember each step. Are these shelves? I guess they are. Okay, so I gotta replicate these steps. So it was table, picture, sofa, bookcase. Was that it? Oh no, sorry, light. I forgot the light part. That was before the bookcase. Or was it before the sofa? Table, picture, light, sofa, bookcase. Okay. Let me out! Okay. I can't turn it off. Realism. Yeah, so let's assume I can walk in this direction. Let's go straight. Yeah.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them.
He must have had the source code for all this because he's modified it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of this is true, or if they're gonna maybe reveal at the end, like, "Hey, I'm Coda," you know, and I built the Stanley Parable.
Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism
Yes,
of defense
exactly.
against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going.
And he feels like he's wasted his time.
And then he hits on something.
Okay.
And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
This one now that we're playing now, not the one that we just played, but this one. Ooh, where do we go? Where do we go? It's very black. Very dark. Very how do you say it in Scottish accent? Foreboding. Where are we going? There's nothing over there. And the lamp. Was there anything else coming here? I didn't see anything I'd recognize other than the texture and the lamp. Wow, okay. Hello? Who's this? Hey! It's me! I'm you from after you escaped the prison. You're me? So you were trapped in this prison as well? Yep.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
But I never got to use the stuff I learned in the escape tutorial. How am I supposed to... How did I get out? I didn't even do anything. Random. Like, I can't imagine building this myself. Don't get me wrong. Like, I can... we all have weird brains, and we all think of weird stuff, and we're all going through stuff and have stuff that's on our minds. And when we convert it into something like this, it may not come across as like entirely logical or understandable or lucid even, but I don't know how, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to be this random. But who knows, maybe someday when I'm actually decent at game dev and actually know maths, like enough maths for it. Maths. A bit profound though, I have to say. At least for me personally, because life does feel like a prison sometimes. You don't need to, you just need to be patient. Having limits is very important than you realize. You'll see what I'm talking about when you've been there for a while longer. What about the furniture? What about the tutorial to escape? I'm so confused. It's very inconsistent. Like, I keep expecting, like, yeah, options that should be there, aren't there. That I'd expect to be there aren't there. All they told me was to be sincere. None of those three, but okay. let's just talk for a bit. Will you be here? I will be here for as long as you need.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice? So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself? To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the 2 doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
The 2 doors on either side? Is he talking about that door and this door? I'm tempted to go straight up there, but I don't want to waste. So this is the prison, is it? So let's see if I can remember the tutorial. Oh, hello there, Mr. Clean. I have to say, this game does not run as well as I thought it would, considering it's Source 1. It does stutter quite a bit sometimes. And it doesn't feel like it's running like as well as it should. Speaking of, maybe I should just set a cap. No, I'd have to close the game though to do that. Well, I could use Afterburner, I guess. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's getting like really high frame rate wise and that causes weird issues. Well, that doesn't make sense. Checking here, and the max frame rate for this game should be 120 FPS. Which is fine for a Source game, let's be real. But yeah, it runs a bit weirdly. And now my PC's stuttering. Because of NVIDIA. Oh, NVIDIA. This software is like 15 years old. Could you guys get new drivers? My god. Like, how is it that AMD's got better drivers than you? And they have done so for so flippin' long. Frame rates. Yeah, it's 120. But, anyway, let's close it and get back to the game. Just wanted to see if I could fix the stutters, the light stutters. If that changes anything. Unless maybe the game is already capped, and it's hard to tell. Oh my goodness, I'm glad as heck that you showed up. Though I might have to clean this entire house myself.
Is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
2 months, jeez. Wow. I thought it'd be easier than that in Source. Okay. Jeez, this whole thing in Source. The whole thing in 2 months. Jeez. Little one. Oh, don't you worry, now I'll be through this mess in no time. I promise you, wish there was more. Yeah, sure. Bane of my existence. Take it to the kitchen, I guess. What did he say? Much nice the table. I'd see now. Would you please run to the bedroom and make the bed? Okay, but where did... Oh, the dishes are in the sink already. Never mind. Okay. Thought I had to carry them now. Where's the bedroom? Oh, dude, this house is nice though. Though, I will say, glass houses are overrated. I know, because I've stayed in one. It was hot as hell. The only time glass houses are valid or viable is when you're in a cold climate, because if you sit on the coast in a hot climate, like a humid hot climate with one of these, I don't know. Make the bed. And also just other people being able to see in your house as well. It's just weird. Like, even if you've got like a whole hedge around your house. Yeah, the quality's definitely gone up here. There's lots more to do. I can't clean that up. I wouldn't want to do cleaning as a job just because of all the chemicals you use. Oh, speaking of demons, someone's put this couch in all a mess. Would you come out and straighten these pillows here? Yeah, I'm gonna have to clean that just now too, I'm sure. Toilet looks clean though. Like, I've done my own cleaning for quite a while. So I've only just started hiring someone to help me with it. It is not fun to do, but you get used to it, I guess, as an adult. I feel compelled to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight. Are you okay with that? Yeah, I'll try to get by. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable by not being super excited about your cheesy comment. I'm guessing that's a sort of a call to how Mr. Coda would have reacted in that situation, or maybe people that he's interacted with, I don't know. Okay, dishes done. Quickest dishes in my life. The tub needed cleaning. I noticed that. How about you scrub it down as best you can? No need to be perfect, we're all just human. Well, the thing is, no one uses my bath, so because I shower all the time. And my bath is small, so no one wants to use it anyway, even when they come over, so... It's not a nice bath. I did see those, and I tried to clean them up for you, but your game wouldn't let me, Mr. Clean. Perfect. Now then, how about you come and clean?
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you. And eventually cohere into something meaningful.
So this is the type of game that I don't enjoy. Having to do lots of repetitive tasks. Well, I don't like MMOs and things like that. Do these chores ever end? Darling, let me tell you something. Whatever work you do, you have absolutely got to own it. Otherwise, it owns you. Present you wants to smooth out the rug in the bedroom. Believe it or not, trust me on this one.
I know that Coda really likes this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
That's sweet. Yeah, it's definitely just like, this is like a sounding board for his brain, this guy. Like, unlike me, like, or other devs, you want to get, like, you want recognition and you want people to like your game, or, you know, you want to be able to make money doing the thing that you love. In his case, he didn't give a hell about any of that stuff. He's just like, like, it was a need for him that he had to express. It's very interesting. I mean, I'd agree with this, but it only lets you clean up stuff that he tells you to clean up. So you have to walk past oh my gosh.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
So, like, it feels like he made this when he moved out. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like he moved out and he made this. When he sort of came to terms with living on his own.
Last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Dark space. What does it mean by dark space? I still don't understand that. Because it's not a dark space. It's a comfy, homey, friendly space. But that's life. Life keeps you moving whether you want it to or not. Someone who fights that,
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it. This one gets a bit goofy.
This really does just feel like times in his life, like periods in his life. It really does. And I'm starting to think that he was, yeah, still probably, maybe even younger than I was, because he was studying at this point, I guess. Compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful, I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp, and the question is not how do we do it, but how do we do it effortlessly. This is easy. It is so easy. It is so
About halfway through the
easy.
game, perspective shifts.
Being perfect is effortless. What the hell?
And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
So if you select the grey ones, which are unlikely, let me see what happens if I press the yellow and nothing. Is there a difference? I'm developing a cyst. Gross. Do you understand that you won't be happy until you love me? This is for you. Let's walk around, I guess. May as well take advantage of it. Can't use anything here. I wonder where he got all these sound effects from. I wonder if they were like free or if you, yeah. There is no truth in that. When does this finish? Do I have to interact with something? I've tried that door, I haven't tried this door. I keep pressing the wrong button for use. Because I'm used to C for use on FPS.
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days.
Yeah, that's a problem I've had
This
in my
one
life.
took a lot longer than all the others for Coda.
Comparison
It was
and
4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Can't flip that. There's no light to turn on and off, so there's no tutorial on how to get out of prison in this one. Yeah, we tend to do that, assume that people, based on their outward appearance, have everything in check, everything perfect, but all humans are not perfect. No one's perfect. And we sort of forget that we're actually just creatures, animals, just like the others on this planet. The only thing that separates us is just our brains are slightly different to theirs on average, so it's like, yeah, that's the only real difference. We don't sort of see ourselves in that modest way. We sort of put ourselves on a pedestal because we're human. Can I go up? Tell me I can go up. Nah. What if I jump? Or use? No. Okay. I do like that he has a lot of like size or scale in his games. Like he uses large scale levels and stuff, despite the engine not necessarily always being good for that back in those days. Performance is beginning. Places, please. In the scene you'll be playing as me. We are at a gathering of professionals, and first you'll start out leaning against this wall. Okay. Lean. Smoking a cigarette. Good. Stay right there. The woman across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. Just said we're animals as well. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something from her, to gain something, to succeed. Go on. Say something to her. The music is a bit unnerving. Where is the bathroom? Where is she? I don't know who this person is. Oh. Is this her? Do it again. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason, it's just that one moment. But I was confident. Maybe it's just you need a better feel of the setting. There were a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with. These cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people nearby. Now, talk to her again. Why am I leaning against a wall? That's a bit weird. You're messing it up again. You'll freak her out if the conversations gets that personal that quickly. You do not realize how important this was for me. I'll never get another opportunity like this again. Everything was riding on this. I want to try something. Try stepping back from the stage. Okay, well. Free me, lamp. Free me. He's bullying me. He's bullying me. Where did he go? I don't know. He's bullying me. Okay, what do I do now? Can I use the lamp? No. Okay, let's keep going. And we're in prison. Again. Or at least I'm guessing that's the concept here that he's trying to get across. Can you save me, lamp? Can you take me to the next level? Or are we gonna get some exercise running all the way down this hole? The lamp's gone.
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away.
Me too.
Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself.
Yep.
And to be honest, I didn't consider it very helpful when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself.
No, he's not justifying it.
And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect.
Yeah, he wasn't justifying it.
To bring him closer.
Not based on that, he wasn't justifying.
But what can you do?
It bothered him.
After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
I have very severe social anxiety, and it's affected me since I was a kid. And I have the same issue. I basically cut people off. I'm very antisocial. Mobius Trip. To play this game properly, you must keep your eyes closed. Click to begin the game. You're supposed to keep, like, what? Am I supposed to? I'm just gonna not answer because I'm blind, so I wouldn't know. But I'll look at stuff. I almost fear the game will call me out if I do something, so I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna be like, ignorance is bliss. Oh, okay. Never mind. I wasn't supposed to do that. Hey, Captain!
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't.
Why did I go blind? I can't see.
Otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
Get to the escape hatch. Take the last escape craft so we can get out of here. I don't even know what I pressed. I pressed 1 because I just saw prompt for text. I don't even know what to select.
I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way. His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost...
I was going to say, this game hits hard, like, just for me personally, just because I'm starting to relate to this guy. Just because I can very, very innately sort of feel what he's feeling, not necessarily in not every, I guess, thing he's trying to express, but I do get that, the overall sense of how he was feeling, and it feels like he was very trapped and very struggling to sort of, for human contact and understanding, I guess. And it's something I know very, very well.
6 months before he finishes something new.
I mean, a lot of us do, but when you have severe social anxiety to the point of agoraphobia, or I don't know, if you say you're on the spectrum for like autism or something of that sort, it can make life very difficult for people like this guy, or there's a lot of people who have varying things that cause them to struggle to understand people in general. And it can be tough because you do feel like you're in a prison. You feel like you're alone. You feel like you're separated and cut off from society. And I think those types of people are getting diluted or getting conflated with a whole other group of people that are having the same thing, but more because society is a lot more disconnected now, which is ironic, but I mean, by disconnected, I mean siloed in a different way to how it was before the internet. So, but anyway, I'm rambling. Hello? Where am I? What is this? Uh-oh. It's hinting that something's not quite what it should be. Where did this island come from? How do I get out of here? Hello, is anyone there? Also interesting, because he's making this for himself. No, not necessarily, I guess, because he does phone his friend excitedly to say, hey, come check this out sometimes. So I don't think he's just making it for himself, but it is fascinating how he built these this dialogue system into the game, despite the fact that it's just for him most of the time. I don't know what his motivation behind doing that was, but yeah. Oh, it disappears as you walk over to the next one. Where did this... Is that a person? Lovely. It's been a long time since I looked in. What's wrong? You look lost. Jeez, this guy is really passionate about his work. Jeez. He brings it up a lot. No response, okay. That's not very nice. At least respond to me. It fades out. I need to turn around when I go over there and see what happens. Oh no! What's happened? Did something change? There was a machine that kept me going, and it stopped. I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me to start it again. This engine that used to protect me. What does he mean by that? Engine. Is he referring to his drive to express himself through other means? I don't know what he means by that. The first one I get. The machine is what I just mentioned. But Say that one. But I can relate there as well. So I think in some cases where people all do feel alienated and struggling with that in a lot of different ways, whether it's through not being understood or struggling to understand people or get along with them, or to understand society and the way things are and the way things have to be just based on what society tells you. All these things completely forgot my point. I read the text and then I just completely forgot my point. Oh yes, but a lot of those people have, in order to get through that, they use projects, they use distractions. For some people, those distractions might be negative things, like, like substance abuse or partying or flings or addictions of some sort or whatever. It could also be like skydiving, Wait, what? The game glitched out a bit there. I think it's because it reached the end of the song with music or something, and then something started. So those distractions keep you going, and for this guy and for me as well in my own personal life, it's often been like projects, like just keeping busy with stuff, whether it's trying to build games or learn how to code or write a book or learn how to play an instrument and get in a band, or something to distract you, or make a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel or something. There's always something that you're trying to do to distract yourself, to keep you busy, to keep you away from thinking about this stuff, And I think he was definitely that sort, and I am as well. Though I'm definitely less expressive than this guy is, I would say that easily. I'm not very good at expressing abstract stuff like this. What? You have to take me to? I need to see it to my wife. Stop. That was a machine giving you a stop. Wait, you're... I'm gonna walk backwards like this, so I can see what happens here as I go across. You can't fall off anywhere. Like, it's just a fade out. I can take you to it, but there's a problem. It's guarded by a difficult puzzle. If you can help me solve the puzzle, we'll find the machine. Deal? Deal. I don't know those two deals, but...
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
Because it does something for him. While he may not be as invested in the end result, it still does, the actual act of doing it does something for him, I think. And I'm just projecting here. Because I like to sing in my free time, and I do the same with that. I'm not very good at it, but some days I can have a good day, and But while I don't try to get into a band or anymore or anything like that, I still do it. Because it's not about doing a great cover of a song or blowing people's minds at karaoke or anything like that. It's just about having that day where, like him, when he's building this game, well, there's something welling up inside of him that he needs to express, And so I just start singing, and that comes out, and it makes me feel good. And I'm not very invested. Because it's a lot of work sometimes, Sometimes for a week I have to warm up.
From my perspective at the time,
to be able to sing again.
Just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet. And so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Here's the puzzle. What do you think? So the fact that this door is made in... And how many appearances is it made now? Is this the 5th appearance? 4th appearance? Makes me think it's going to be something really abstract, but it probably won't be. Hey, I recognize this. I've solved this puzzle before. This is easy. So... this is easy. I can do this in my sleep. Huh. I guess I can see he's trying to get across the whole sense of... You can't really tell someone how to be creative, can you? Or to... You can lead a horse to water, but... Or that's not the right phrase, I guess, but... You can never fully understand another person, so it's very hard for you to tell them how to fix something, or change something, or be better at something. First you have to close the door, first you have to open the door, first you press the switch on the inside. First you have to open the door. Okay, now what? Press the switch on the inside. There is no switch on the inside. So, do I have to... But I can't tell him to press the switch. What? Now you have to open the first door. Oh, yes. Well, let's close the first door, yeah. Oh, wait. But how did I tell him to press that switch? I can't open the door, so now I'm stuck. What? Yeah, let's try this again. What?
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
Interesting. Very true, though, about the anxieties thing. And we tell ourselves it's not the case. We tell ourselves, no, how is anyone going to help me with this? How is anyone going to understand? I'm not going to be able to explain what I'm going through. Like, no one's going to understand what I'm going through. All that stuff. But, ultimately, it's just, you're just guaranteeing the same result you've always had. Going in that cycle of anxiety or thoughts of that meandering. When I try to create, I feel empty. Where did this island come from? What is this? I need to see it to know why it stopped. Deal. So these are all the options that I selected. I only noticed that like halfway through. When I read stuff out loud, I don't like process it as well as I should. I don't know why. It's only when I read stuff without saying it out loud that I actually process it properly. There was a machine that kept me going, and it stopped. I wonder how eerie it must have been looking at this, at these games or demos, or I don't know what you call these, in isolation and without all the touched up stuff that we're seeing, like all the music and I wonder how it must have been quite eerie, because now it feels like it's very tailored, but before it probably didn't feel this way. Probably felt even more eerie and stuff. What are you talking about here? There's no machine here. These are just words and some walls. Trust me, you'll see. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say the game development is simple and joyous, and that you love it 100% of the time. Yeah, making games is not easy, but... What the hell? Yes, there was a world stamped with whiteness. I get it. There's a weird... Oh, there's one before. You have to open the door. Yes, these are just words and some walls. What? I feel like I'm at a flippin' psychologist right now. When I make games, I feel completely energized. I'm constantly excited about my work. It is easy. It never stops being easy. Yeah, they're all lies. I don't know.
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering.
Never stop creating and you'll never feel bad. Every time I make something, I feel better about myself. That part's true, I guess. Well, not every time, actually. That's not necessarily true either.
This is someone I really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated
What if I'm
like
not a
this
good teacher?
was the
I'm
worst
blind. There are other
thing
ways
for me.
How about a TV with surround sound? You. Yes, I did get a call. That's how I escaped. Well, trust me, you don't want to go over there. I can't figure out how to say the thing. I wonder what the prison and the whole escape thing insinuated earlier. What did that suggest? I don't know. I still didn't get that part. What was prison in his mind in these early demos? Was it school? Was it a situation with his family, like living with his parents and stuff? Because the prison came up less and less as he got into like the university, like the lecturer thing and the cleaning house thing and all that. So I feel like that happened when he moved out and got out of prison, but I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen a house this messy. I feel like that has more depth to it than we realize as well. Maybe he was struggling there or something. I don't know. Yep, I was in the escape tutorial, but okay. None of this is helping. Please, where's the machine? Just give me the machine. I want the machine. Show me the machine. I want it back again. It always pays off eventually. Any sacrifices made for my work are worth it 100% of the time. Biggest lie.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
There is no shame, no fear, no guilt. I will be saved by my work. I believe this unquestioningly. I am a vessel for certainty. A vessel for certainty? I guess he means that in terms of it's destined for certainty, like on the path to certainty. Using the word for. I'll be saved by my work. There is no shame, no fear, no guilt. I don't know. I'll be saved by my work. That's the big one as well. Incredible. That's it. I'm free. Okay, so if I'm free, does that mean I can go backwards too? No, I'm not free. I'm still in a prison. Damn it. I feel like I'm in a horror game, you know, where they always have these background crying things.
But it didn't stop.
Why was there a lady in there?
After finishing
on
this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
Again in Source. Because this is now 3 years later. You'd think his tools would change. But he likes Source, I guess. Well, maybe he uses different tools where he worked. Or, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't his full-time job being like a game dev, and he just did this in his free time. I can see it. There's a lot of people who gravitate towards tooling like this. And use it and get good with it to just express themselves. Man, glad to see you've arrived safely. We've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You can begin the interrogation whenever you like. Interrogation? Ooh. I intend to be quick. Just a simple fingernail alt or two off, and they'll be in the palm of my hand. Just be warned that someone is called the press, so you might have a bit of attention on this one. I didn't see the bug part. But anyway. Well. I'm wondering, like, did he create... Is this like the same model that he's used everywhere, and it just basically... Or does he make these models himself? I mean, it's probably the same base model, and then he just adds to it as necessary for the different, like, the... Yeah. But, like, it's hard to say. It probably is. Interrogation time.
And of course, it's the machine.
Yeah. You stopped. How could you? I've got 7,000 games in my folder that I haven't finished yet. You stopped feeding us. Your work was keeping us alive. Your work was keeping us healthy. I still don't feel like this dialogue was done by Coder. I can't imagine that he built this dialogue himself. This feels too much like it was the guy who's the narrator who edited this stuff. Those people out there, can you imagine what pain you put them through? It was only because of your creations that any of us could make it through every day. How could we possibly go back to trusting you to do this job? Number 3. How about this for a start? You need to go to the people who are out there and apologize to them. I have no idea what's going on right now. And I have no idea how the press ties into his... Unless the press is sort of like his life or something. I don't know. Like he's blaming this for his life. This is the culprit. And, yeah. How about this first, right? You need to go to the people who are required. You have to admit to people that you want them to suffer. I mean so alone. Okay, so you have to admit to the people that you want them to suffer. Yeah, say that. I'm sure someone without their ability to create in a way that allows them to express themselves can be quite lonely. Apologize for leaving. Think carefully, I know how to hurt you. I've seen the thing you fear. Let's go with that, nice and dramatic. What does my engine fear? Critique? Being held accountable by others? Alright then, I will apologize to the people on your behalf. That's... So that means he's basically apologetic. It almost feels like... Okay. It almost feels like... So he had this guy that he was friends with, this narrator guy, Mr. Stanley Parable writer. They're friends, and for years he's been sharing his games with this guy. I'm sure he wasn't the only one, to be honest, especially with this analogy. I'm assuming there were other people who were excited just to see what... They were encouraging him or curious to see what he'd build, and then when he got to the point where he had no passion for what he was doing, again, he felt like he owed them something. Those people that have been, like, and I can understand that, but yeah, he felt like he owed them something, I think. And that's how this relationship works, I think. So I think when he was talking about them, he was talking about the people that he could keep connected with through his passion, through this thing that he was doing. At least that's what I'm assuming. Hey guys, no more free game demos made in Source, okay? I know it's tough to hear. You know, I got a lot of fans. So, just please don't take it out on me, okay? My friends. I'm gonna just try and keep it as close to reality as possible, so not sticking to the analogy too much. It falls on me to deliver bad news. I have a troubling revelation. The machine will not apologize to us. The machine refuses to admit that it deliberately hurt us. Same thing. But this is not important. We are stronger than it thinks we are. Jeez. I can imagine this must have been really tough for him to deal with mentally at the time, because I've gone through many similar things with my career, with the things that I was passionate about in the past. Yeah, it's tough. Especially creative endeavors. Must have been really tough for him to... When he was building this, I can imagine it must have been very evocative. Yeah. But yeah, it's either... Do I give this up? Or do I push through? And those both don't feel like the right... Neither of them feel like the right answer, because you're not actually being motivated in the right way. You need to be doing it for the right reason, and doing it because it's expected of you, or because you're just pushing through, or just giving up and just saying to yourself, well, if I don't enjoy it as much, if I don't find the process enjoyable anymore, then I'm not going to do it anymore. Because that's also not true, because he wouldn't be in such a predicament otherwise. If it was that easy to reach that conclusion, he would have reached it a long time ago. So yeah, so that's also sort of a lie to himself, I think, that we don't need it in our lives. But this is important. There's no point in trying everything. But I guess most of the time you're going to go with number one. Hey, you're just going to say, well, stop being a wuss, just push through. Do this next 100 lines of code, do this next feature, do this next thing. It'll start feeling better after that. Once someone sees it, it'll all be worth it, you know? Or once I see the end result, it'll all be worth it. Or, yeah, I don't know. Let us pay it retribution. I hope I'm not stuttering. I don't have my monitoring on, so I can't hear myself. Because I've got an aircon on in the background and it's super loud. So if I have the aircon on and I have my monitoring on, I can hear my aircon and me, and I can't even hear the game. So it does make it harder to be precise with my words because I can't hear myself. But hopefully I'm not stuttering. Let us pay it retribution. Let us show that we are not failures. Let us show it that we are not failures. Okay, so I don't understand this retribution thing, because how are you going to get revenge on your own psyche or engine, I guess, your internal emotional self? How are you going to get revenge on that? I don't understand that part, but let us show it that we're not failures. Number two is usually what keeps me going. We don't want to be a failure, do we? Some families have that theme where they're like, we never fail. We're a successful family. We're full of clever people who get degrees and good jobs, and we get paid a lot, man. And we never fail. We do everything right, you know? We're perfect. We need everyone else to be perfect too. And they sort of drive that mindset. Let us show it what we're not failures. Follow me, I will destroy the machine. Follow me, we'll destroy everything that the machine's created. So what, is he giving up? Is this an admission of giving up? What is this? I don't know. We will destroy the machine. Follow me, destroy everything that the machine's created. Yeah, number two makes more sense, at least in terms of the analogy for me. Like, just basically cutting ties with your work and almost in a fit of, I don't know, not malice, but like just, I don't know what the right word is, but yeah, you delete all your previous work and you delete the tools on your computer, say, or you sell that guitar, or, you know, you toss those football boots in the bin, or whatever it may be. What happened? There's no dialogue now. Oh, I'm supposed to go back inside here because the engine's gone. It's fascinating how it brings in these elements from previous fucking things. It's weird. Wait, why was there like light behind this curtain here?
Remember, you can click to fire the gun.
I know, but what am I firing at? The engine's not here. What? Where's the engine? Or where's the works? The works. What represents work here? I don't know. Oh. Okay, so this represents the work, okay? So this is like Coda. I'll make sure your work dies here. Coda, I'll make sure you are known forever. isn't that what you're
So
scared
now
of?
the
Having
work
to
is
live without
becoming
your precious-
self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Destroy it all. Nah. I wonder if I can walk through it if it's white. That's one of the things about like older engines is that they're a lot more predictable because of stuff like that. Like that's one thing. This avenue, this linear narrative-based FPS, that's very simple in terms of like you don't have to create these huge giant levels, you know. I wish it was more common these days, though. Like, I wish, because we have the tools. Oh, you can fall through the floor.
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played,
Because if you used, like, Unreal Engine 5 to do stuff like this, you would be able to do so much more with the tooling available than you would back in those days. So I wish, and that's one of the ideas I have for building stuff. Like, if I was to build games and venture into 3D, because I'm very intimidated by doing 3D, because, again, I'm just really bad at math. But I would want to do simple narrative, more almost artistic stuff like this. Like I would want to have a point, something to say with it, as opposed to just being an FPS. Like back in the day, I would have loved to make like a Counter-Strike or a Quake, because back in the day I used to have all these ideas for how to make a perfect FPS. But this to me is like the best way still just to experience FPS in a linear narrative sense that's well written. And just, yeah.
theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games.
Well, nice graphics
I brought them to people that I knew and
nice
trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. Mm-hmm. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Oh, the black thingy in the middle, was that it? No, probably not. I don't know. So people looked at his games, they liked them, but it didn't really affect them, I'm pretty sure, in any way. It didn't motivate them. It didn't revive the machine, the engine, as such. Put down your weapon. I don't have a weapon. Okay, now I do. Can't move my car. I have to shoot. Die.
See why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they use...
It's never enough. Someone telling you, I don't know, maybe I'm different, and maybe I'm more like this guy, this Coda guy, but someone telling me that it's good does not make it worth doing, does not justify doing it. And I don't know if you're different, but it can help, give you a little boost. It can push you forward for a little bit, you know, for a week or 2 months, maybe. But ultimately, you have to be doing it for yourself. And that's the hardest part, I think.
See themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something... I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy, so beautifully, beautifully happy.
The opposite for him, I'm sure. Well, not the opposite, but like I said, he probably wasn't as invested in others' feedback.
So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made.
I'm just going to pause right there. My headphones are phoning out my ears now, because I've been wearing them for a while, so I'm just going to change to something else. Silicon tips are like that. Especially when the IEM doesn't fit you that well out of the box. That's way better.
So let's take a look.
The sound is so different on these ones. This is the last game he made. He's obviously dealing with a huge amount of creative difficulties, motivational. I think that happens for a lot of us, to be honest. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just projecting again, but I can very much relate to this. More over a longer period of time, though, because, yeah, I've battled with personal projects over the course of my life. And I can very much understand what, at least a semblance of what he was maybe dealing with here. Because ultimately,
this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, The Tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
I don't know if I agree. What do you guys think about that? Like the whole sense of these being called games. I don't know. In my brain, when I think of a game, I think of something that has a start, middle, end. You know, it has some form of coherent, logical process. You know, there's a point to it. We get this. I guess there is a point to these, but I don't know. Calling them games is just weird for me. I feel like we need a different word for something like this. Not to diminish its value or anything like that, just because it's so different to a game in the common sense that we refer to it, and the way we refer to it. I must say I'm liking this level, though. Just because it's different to what he's done before. It's slightly different. The lights are still ugly, though. The spotlights are still gross in Source 1.
This room actually has a maze in it.
And the lamp's all the way at the top there. I'm starting to wonder, is this lamp... Like, I can't believe that this was all done by Mr. Coda, and it was so well... It feels like it... Yeah, I can't believe that it was all just stuff done in this guy's free time, and none of this stuff is additional. Like, it feels too pieced together to not be additional. Like, I feel like someone, when they released this game, they definitely added a lot to it. Like the lamp. I don't believe that was there all the time. Maybe it looked different. Maybe there was a lamp up there, but it didn't shine down to the bottom or something. I don't know. I don't believe this. I'm starting to believe that this is...
Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise. So the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played. It actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all.
That's hectic.
But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
I'm fascinated by that. Like the analogy there, the metaphor that he's making with that. Like life... There's no way out, or whatever issue he's dealing with in general. Just want to see if that was the right way or not. I know I'm being weird, but Part of me wants to try doing this. Okay, so no. If you go forward here, you die immediately. So I went further forward on this side, didn't I? No, I have no idea where to go then, yeah. It's all good. I think what he should have done is just made the walls visible instead of putting a bridge over it, but I guess that was probably easier dev-wise. I love this. I love that and that. Like, this looks cool. That's the thing about making stuff like this, dude. You don't need to be the best developer in the world to be able to make something that's actually creatively cool, like, just different. Like, if you just had the ability...
Fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable.
As I was saying earlier.
Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just clean the house forever.
There's a lot of stuff that's been
amended. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze?
Even if you just know how to use a map editor, you could build stuff like this quite easily for any major engine, I'm sure. You'd probably have to go with an older engine though, just because the newer ones are more complex because they're like full-on engine tools, not just like a map editor. You used to just boot up the Quake editor, map editor. And just
the only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
Okay. I went past because the movement is not tied to the key. It's hard to expect, but it went 1516. There we go. I just want to check, like, maybe there was a way to get the code that he didn't realize. I'm sure he's tried everything at this point. And he had access to the actual level, so I'm sure he would have found anything that was inside the level itself. So I doubt there's any way I can find out what it means. What did that do? I have a feeling these red things are going to fall and close at some point. Otherwise they're just there for looks, I guess. I love these stairways on the sides though, it looks cool. Amazing what you can do with lighting here, just lighting. Even in an old engine like this.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. I can open this door for you, so let me do that.
So strange. Like, it's so different, weird. I don't know. It's like...
Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow.
I feel like this is going to get dark.
I failed, and I don't understand why.
I feel like this is going to get dark, like Coda is no longer around or something. I hope not. Make me sad. Is that the weird moaning in the background? It's the same crying as the previous level? I think so. It's strange.
I remember. It's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time. And as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew. It wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them...
This game is very profound, though, I have to say. It makes me think a lot about my own life. Just because I have a lot in common with this coder guy, unfortunately. Not in the ways I'd like. Like, I don't build awesome tools.
I had been trying to, though.
Like
that was the thing. For years, I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
Jeez. I'm actually getting very nervous now about what's going to happen. I'm actually getting quite nervous. Very nervous.
I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left. And it felt somehow like I had failed.
Wait, did I just see something? Oh, it's just glitching. It's just doing some weird artifacts because of the aliasing. Sorry for the yawning. I'm not bored, I promise. I'm just struggling to sleep lately. Keep waking up at 4 in the morning. And it's already here? 12 o'clock. It's scary to think I've been awake for like 8 hours almost.
Where did I screw up?
I hope this doesn't get dark. Like, I really... Oh. Like, darker.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I?
Wow. So I was right earlier with the engine thing. Jeez. That's hectic, dude. I sometimes feel like I'm
because of what I
that
did.
person for myself, to be honest.
I poisoned it for you.
I need to ask you not to speak to me anymore, dear Davey. Jeez. Sorry, I am taking this quite hard. So I apologize for my emotional.
But when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
And that is exactly the line, like... Yeah, he wasn't doing it for anyone else other than himself. And what made it great was that he did it for those reasons. That's the point of this game. That he didn't think about anyone else when he made these. The moment that he had to start thinking of others, it felt like this energy, this sapping of energy, this rope around his ankle, this ball and chain. And as soon as you feel like you're doing it for reasons that you don't identify well with, that you don't believe in, it can absolutely kill your relationship with that thing. Yeah. Another thing I struggle with making games, or making anything in general, is that I do what Mr. Coda was not a fan of, and that is that I try to get that motivation from others sometimes, and it doesn't work, because either those other people aren't invested in the game like you were, and they go, oh, that's great, nice, well done, nice, good job, and it's just like these very weak platitudes, or they just don't care at all. Usually, they're never going to share the amount of investment you have in your own work, and expecting others to give you that feedback, to give you that push, to give you that oomph. It's not realistic. It's not. I wonder at times whether you think I'm making these games for you. Wait, did I change room? Was it the Hello Davey one here? Yeah, it was. I thought the wall changed for a second, because I've been talking so much. I'm getting confused. You've so infected my personal space that it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere hidden between games. Infected, just that's not a nice word. That it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my game somewhere hidden between games. So wait a second. So this level had tons of blocks. Wow, that's very, very profound. Like what? So he never actually was able to be honest with Mr. Narrator, Mr. Stanley Parable writer, dude. He was never able to be honest with the guy. So he made this game as his final goodbye. But it wasn't even a full goodbye. It was like, those sequences in movies where the person's on the train running and the guy's running after her, and she runs to the window in the train and she shouts something out the window, but he doesn't hear, Same type of vibe here, He didn't actually, he hid all this stuff, all his true feelings behind these blocks. So now my question is, how did Mr. Writer find out about the messages, A? And B, how did he, what was B? I can't remember. But how did he get through all of these blocks in his games? Well, in this level specifically, to get to the point here where he saw the message. How did he know how this guy truly felt about him? Did he only find out about it later? When he looked back fondly on this guy and was like, hey, or like in the creation of this game almost? Or did he play it so much that he got through the invisible maze, and did he have the source code somehow? Did they share source code? But this guy's a writer, so that doesn't make sense. Like what? How did this message on this wall, how did he get to see it? I still don't understand that part. But he'll probably tell us just now. You have infected my personal space so that it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work, something hidden between games. Still. I think it's a bit harsh from Mr. Developer, though, because there were times where he was excited to show said levels. Maybe you could argue that was because he'd convinced himself of something that wasn't true, that doing this for other people was going to be gratifying, but maybe he realized only after a while that he was like, okay, wait a second. Yeah. And it's also quite profound if you look back now on all the levels, like shooting the engine and everything. It's almost like he had the narrator realize that he was that he was the criminal or the culprit for destroying the engine. It's actually, if you think a lot about it, it's actually quite hard. I didn't think that it would be that deep. But
and the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally, for a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
There was no answer or meaning. Would it make you any happier? Look at the weird flickering over there. Seems to happen with like sub-pixel movements or something. It's like weird. It's like it only happens sometimes. No. When you're at a certain point. No, it's when it's 31 pixel you move or something. No. There was an answer or meaning. Would it make you any happier? I am very curious now about their relationship. I actually want to play this game again and just speed through it just so I can see what goes through the dialogue and just sort of pick out what the hell he was talking about. Pick out any like subtleties or other things I might have missed in terms of their relationship and yeah. Against my wishes. Giving them something that is not yours to give, violating the one boundary that keeps me safe. Wow, he must really have not liked that. What's that noise? This is eerie, man. This is really fucking eerie. Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts? Yeah. I said so. I said so. So he was projecting meaning onto the game in his own way. I have no idea what this game's trying to get at right yet. I'm still trying to, I mean, I'm sure I've hit on a few points, but like, what? He's up to stop adding lampposts to them. Jeez. Is this really what he wrote on the... No, I'm so confused. I don't believe... Like, I don't know if this is real or... I don't know. Or...
And then you stopped. And I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
Would you simply let them be what they are? I wonder, like... If someone was changing my work, I can imagine being irritated if I didn't agree with it. This Coda guy seems like a very... Even more than me, very, like... cut-off individual. Like, he doesn't interact with others as much. He doesn't... Like, that's bad rating for it. He's not honest. He could have been interacting with people tons, but he's not honest about how he feels. Fuck. What? Sorry, excuse my language. This is surprising. Jeez. Wow. But I think, have I experienced this type of thing in my life? I think I have done it with other people, actually, to be honest. I tend to think of myself as one of those motivators, people who sort of goes and tries to motivate people who I think are good at things or have something they could expand on. And I can understand that act of doing something like that can sort of pressure someone. Especially, like, even if you just go back to being a kid and your parents pressuring you to do stupid shit. Like, they want you to be the best piano player in the world or something, you know? Jeez. I don't know if I can believe this is real, though. But, yeah, anyway. Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Oh, so it wasn't him fixating on it, it was this dude. Narrator dude. It was Mr. Narrator that was sort of projecting that, I guess. Oh. Yep. Well, I guess we project in our own ways, huh? You're not my problem to solve. I passed this. Hectic. Dude. But I hope that one day it clicks and that you make peace with this thing you are wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
And when you finally see what I am talking about, wait. Don't say anything. Jeez. Wait, it didn't play the sound on the first one. Why does it only do it on the second and the third? Jesus, that's hectic. That must have been very hurtful, like when he found out about when he's read that.
That's
I feel bad for
why
Mr. Narrator.
I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Well, I said it many times. I projected a lot on this video, just the same way Mr. Narrator did on Mr. Coda. Wait, what is this? Wasn't that the last game just now? Or was this actually there to follow the other stuff?
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
I'm looking for any Easter eggs or weird things. I wonder if that tutorial to escape prison actually came into effect at any point, and I might have missed it or not. I don't know. Probably not. Yeah. That was very weird though. Like I don't know what that, symbolized. So there's a train saying, "Get the hell out of my life." Or are you in the train and you're going to be in the window and you're going to shout something I don't hear? Is that what's going to happen? Like my analogy earlier. Let's go find where we're supposed to go. I don't know. Can I get run over? Okay, he wouldn't have been that malicious, Mr. Coda. Or would he? Dude, do I have to go all the way around? Where do we go? Nowhere. We watch as the train goes, as it leaves the station. Can't go there either. Okay, never mind. I mean, there's lamps, though they don't look like his lamp. So, I'm trying to understand the past, this relationship. Was Mr. Narrator actually editing the levels while they were busy? When Mr. Dude was passing the levels, the games to this dude, was he editing them in post? Like after receiving them? And if so, then how was he sending? Was he sending them the source code? Well, not the source code, but you know what I mean. The source files. Because you'd need the source files, because surely it's just a binary. He was even showing in that earlier part of the game. Just a list of executables. So what? Yeah, no, there's no way to go here. Oh, there's a door there. I heard it open just now, but I didn't see it. I didn't know what that sound was. And what does that mean? My problem is that I can't understand someone who's like I've never been able to understand people who are so just like Mr. Narrator, like people who just have that ability to just put their minds into their work, their space, mind space, to sort of just
Solution.
I've never been someone like that. Solution. I wonder how long this game is, because this was the last level. Unless this is a new level Mr. Narrator made.
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
And it's amazing how early on it started as well. If you think back to the previous levels, like how early on the whole like engine thing started, like with the little island that kept disappearing. It started on quite early, didn't it? I can't remember. But the prison thing I never understood. Yeah, so I don't think there was any point behind it, to be honest. Or at least nothing that he expected us to understand. Or maybe nothing he needed us to understand. He hoped, maybe? I don't know. But
even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
Yeah. arm sore.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
Yeah. But maybe it wasn't Mr. Coda I was identifying with. Maybe it was Mr. Narrator, seeing as he was projecting a lot onto these games, and I was sort of continuing to do so in that vein. It's so tough, dude. How do you get over that hurdle of needing external validation? Like, what do you do about it? Like, how do you... I'm in the same boat as Mr. Narrator. It's like, that's why I was saying I couldn't understand this Coda dude and his ability to do this over months for no external validation at all. Like, it's amazing to me. Like, it's alien. So, like, maybe he'll tackle this, hopefully. Maybe there'll be a fix. He'll give me the answer, the solution. Solution. That need for whatever you make to be liked by others more than it is you. Doing whatever it takes to make it worthwhile in an objective sense rather than a subjective sense. Or it's not a good way of phrasing it, but by objective I mean in a socially predictable way.
I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for. So
And that external validation, that need for it, is what gets in the way a lot of the time, for me especially as well. You know, and a lot of people have this issue, but like, even just on Twitch, you know, you see that, that 2 viewer count go down to 0, and you're like, no one likes me, you know.
Okay.
Or you can say he didn't really. He did this in a rush. But I mean, the level's huge, so it's amazing that he put this much effort into it just for one person. It's amazing. If it is, I mean, unless Narrator has done this one, I think he is. I think Narrator built this one, to be honest. I don't think this is one of Coda's levels, actually. Or you go to... In my case, I've sang in public before. Like, for singing lessons, I would go to restaurants and sing with other singing students. And you'd sit up there on stage and you'd be like... And you'd tell yourself not to care what the audience is saying or doing or how they respond to you, but as soon as you... Especially when it's a small audience, like 30 people, and you see that one guy looking at his wife, and then they're talking under his breath and then laughing or something, or people just not noticing you and just having their dinner and not stopping to listen to the music. It immediately has a profound effect on your will to keep going. Or you get home after the performance and you're just like, I don't want to keep doing this anymore. You know you love it, you know you love doing it, but that feeling is so hard to let go of. happens at work as well. You know, you start a new job and you're being judged by those around you and you make mistakes. As soon as you see them acknowledge the fact that you're making mistakes or whatever, it makes it really hard to actually be very invested in your work anymore because you're just so afraid of mistakes, of doing them again. Or being in a situation at work where you're not ever acknowledged for the work that you do. Even if you did enjoy it, it's not enough. You know, things like that makes it tough. But I'm sure he'll give me the solution here, Mr. Narrator. Hey, you'll tell me how you fixed yourself. I'm being very sarcastic if that's not coming across. I know that quote-unquote fixing is not necessarily as easy as it sounds in the English language. It's easy to put a couple words together, but unfortunately that's not how human beings are. Our reality is. Reality is not like that. Okay, this is narrator's level. Has to be. Even the external validation thing goes as far as just like recommending music to people and they don't like it and you get upset and it sort of invalidates that music for you just because no one else that you know likes it. It's weird, you know? There's a lot of that in our lives. So are you going to... So it's basically like a you know, symbolism for are you going to sacrifice yourself in some way? Or are you going to... I don't know, what does it symbolize? So I know it's going to end it if I die, figuratively, the game. Or, look at that was pretty cool. Or, well, not or, and, what is that? What benefit does that have? Who does that benefit? What is it benefiting? What's the point of it? It's sacrifice. Earlier on it was mentioned as sacrifice. What does it mean here? What is it insinuating? To die, to just give up, I guess? I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here. I mean, give up on this need to find a solution. I guess that's the end of the game, probably. No? Okay. You can tell where the budget went. I must say this game's done a very good job of tying something so simple to real life, to a sense of realness. People. Like getting a sense that there's people behind this.
Turn back.
Or are.
Turn back from this cave.
There was no conclusion, really. He just said, I have to go, I have to get work done, and that was it.
Let me prove that I'm brave. Let me keep going. But the cave goes for miles and miles and miles. And
overall, I guess the point is that creating something should always be done for you before anyone else. Otherwise, you've got the cart before the horse. And it's a fundamental thing. Unavoidable. Cool. Well, that was fun. But a bit heavy for me, just because I was projecting on a lot with my own weird anxiety issues. But yeah, it was fun. Thought-provoking. Cool. So I hope you enjoyed watching. And I don't know if I'll upload this to YouTube. It's a bit raw for me in terms of being honest, but we shall see. If anyone did join us, thanks for watching, and cheers.